Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Shawn. This is my post-fight video for the Shawn Porter-Danny Garcia fight from last night. Very good fight, very entertaining. I think Shawn Porter deserved to win. It was a good fight, it was competitive, but I do think that Shawn Porter won most of the rounds. Now, Danny Garcia did win some, and some of them are close, but overall, Shawn Porter definitely did enough to win, especially as the fight progressed. I didn't make a prediction video for this, but I was expecting, I saw it as a 50-50 fight, but I was edging Danny Garcia. I thought Danny Garcia was going to win on points. I thought he was going to land the more meaningful punches. I thought Shawn Porter would outwork him to a certain extent, but I thought he was going to get caught coming in and get hit with some hard punches, and I thought that was going to make the difference. You see, Shawn Porter, he sort of learned quite a lot from his two defeats, and he fought very good game plan, disciplined game plan as well. And he fought in spurts, which was good, and that kind of threw Danny Garcia off. Now, when he lost to Keith Thurman is very quick on his feet. Although he can hit you with some hard punches, and he can stand there and slug it out with you from time to time, he likes to move a lot, and he's very quick, and he could use that ring. Now, Danny Garcia was never going to be able to do that. When he fought against Kell Brook was physically very, very strong, and he could obviously catch him coming in. But Shawn Porter, that style that he had, particularly that time, after he'd just beaten, Malignaggi, Devin Alexander, he just sort of steamrolled through him. He was trying to do the same thing to Kell Brook, and he was strong enough to just basically hold him and catch him coming in and force him back. Now, Danny Garcia, I didn't see Danny Garcia being able have the attributes to follow either of those blueprints, but I did see him hitting hard enough and being tough enough to withstand Porter's punches. I thought he'd just basically stand his ground and catch him with some wicked counters coming in, because he would have to hold his feet. But Shawn Porter, at least to my surprise, used much more boxing skill and a lot more composure. He was a lot more composed coming in. He wasn't just steamrolling in, which a lot of people, including myself, really were predicting him to do. Because obviously Danny Garcia coming up from lighter weights, Shawn Porter kind of got that style where he just tries to bully you. And I thought that he would, for the most part, try and do that. He did do that at times, but he was sort of working his way in quite nicely. And he's very, very well. He did very well at fighting in spurts. So for the first few rounds, really, he'd sort of keep Danny Garcia guessing, because he kept fighting on the back foot a little bit, coming in nicely with a jab, counters. He was working a very nice counter right hand over the top. And he was, they were, after the first 4 rounds or so, I think it was they were pretty even. And it was a sort of boxing match. And he wasn't outboxing Danny Garcia, but Danny Garcia wasn't outboxing him either. And he was boxing pretty nicely. But then he started to pick his moments where he'd come in under, doing a little mini Mike Tyson used to do, and then get quite aggressive, work the body, come in with nice right hands over the top, and he'd rough up Garcia when he needed to. Then just when Danny Garcia was starting to get a hand on it, then he'd step back, come in again, quick jab, on the back foot, picking his moments to come in. So it's a very, very balanced performance from Shawn Porter. Probably, off the top, I think that's the best I've ever seen him, really, because I've always seen him as being very one-dimensional. Now, not to say that he was, suddenly turned into Terence Crawford in there, but he wasn't as predictable as he normally is. So for me, just the timing where he'd choose his moments, come in, and he sort of picked it up as the fight went on as well. Got some very nice body work in on Danny Garcia. That slowed him down. Countering very well, good counter punching, and he was making that work. That stuck. Before, a lot of that, that crazy Mike Tyson stuff he'd try and do. He'd just end up smothering himself, and he'd just do and then come in with a head. He was actually sort of doing that, slipping some punches and coming with some nice counters. So that was the most effective I'd ever seen him, to be honest. So yeah, I was pretty impressed, because I normally don't like watching Shawn Porter fight. He fights to me normally he's in a pub car park on a Saturday night after about 10 pints. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to see him actually having a bit of a game plan and a bit of finesse to his work, albeit with a little bit of his sort of trademark, rough, tough bulldog spirit thrown in. So for me, brilliant. I love the way he put it all together and kind of fought on his own terms. he almost fought like a sort of guerrilla war against Danny Garcia at times. He'd be kind of like when Danny Garcia was starting to find his rhythm, landing some nice hooks, he'd kind of take a step back, change the pace of the fight, confuse him. Then when he had the opportunity to do it, bang, come in, bang, 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 like he does, rough him up, body shots. So it's a very, very good performance from Shawn Porter. Now Danny Garcia did what Danny Garcia does. Really, he couldn't keep up with the work rate of Shawn Porter, but he was definitely able to hold his own in terms of the exchanges. Shawn Porter never really beat him up, or at moments he kind of pushed him. You never really saw him on the ropes. Just take it like Keith Thurman, for example. Keith Thurman fought Porter, and he was using good movement, but still he was forced back onto the ropes, and it was much tougher for him in there really than Danny Garcia. Yeah, he managed to avoid more because he was using his feet and he was coming out landing him at times. But I thought Danny Garcia did all right. He just couldn't cope with the pace of Porter's fight, and also I think he was a bit surprised, like myself, with the versatility. I think he was just expecting Porter to just rush him the whole fight, and if he had done that, then I think he probably would have caught him with a lot of hard punches coming in, and probably could have taken a decision, which is what I expected to happen. Presumably that's what he expected to happen as well. So yeah, Garcia, he did alright. He did land some good punches, good counters, landed some good body shots. There was a good little war of body shots going in there, but Shawn Porter covering himself up nicely and showing a much better defence than I've seen. So yeah, Danny Garcia, he's just lost a very close fight. He's still a big name. He's clearly able to compete at that level. So, do you know what I mean? His stock hasn't really, for me anyway, gone down particularly. I think Shawn Porter just fought a very, very good fight and just outworked him. So in terms of where Danny Garcia goes from here, he's still a credible opponent at that level. As far as I'm concerned, I'd still like to see him fight Spence, Crawford, whoever really. Do you know what I mean? Kell Brook, if he, whatever reason, did actually come down to all these fights. Now, out of all of them, the one I give him the least chance against is Crawford. I think I don't think he would have any chance against Crawford, to be honest. But because he's always in the fight and he's always like a tough opponent, I'd still like to see it. But out of all of them, I think Crawford would. I don't think he'd really land much on him, and I don't think he'd really get a look in that fight. But still, I definitely would watch it. In terms of Shawn Porter, I'm very happy for him, ready to win the WBC belt. He's always in good fights. Not always the prettiest ones to watch, but he's always fighting top opposition. Gives a good account of himself, comes to fight every time. Now, they're talking about him fighting Errol Spence. That's a good. After seeing that, don't get me wrong, I still don't think he can beat Errol Spence. I think like when he fought against Kell Brook, that's also, I think Errol Spence has the physical strength to just put him in his place. I don't see him outboxing Errol Spence from range. Although he is very quick. He's quick and a lot quicker than Spence. Quicker on his feet. He's got fast hands. But I think Spence is very accurate. And he's not quick on his feet, but he's efficient with his footwork. And I could see him just sort of picking off Porter and just grinding him down. And I don't see Porter being able to steamroll through him, Spencer, just grab hold of him. And I don't see him coming off best in a clash of that sort of style. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think he's gonna beat Errol Spence, but I definitely think he'll make it interesting. And he looked, as I say, with a lot more finesse that time. So he'd need to do the same thing with Spence. He needs to use his foot speed. He can't think he's just going to, steamroll through him. But he's got to do it at times. And if he can get on the inside, if he can use that good head movement and come in countering, and then who knows. Terence Crawford against Shawn Porter is very interesting as well. Now, Terence Crawford, as good as he is, skillful as he is, as versatile as he is, I've never seen him fight anyone like Shawn Porter. At least not with the physical strength and aggression, or maybe aggression, but when you sort of factor in the actual strength of Shawn Porter as well, that would be a very, very interesting one. Now, most people would pick Terence Crawford to outbox him, but I don't see him really being able to hurt Porter particularly. Maybe he'll surprise us, but based on what I've seen, He went 12 rounds with Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, taking big punches along the way. I don't really see Crawford being able to stop him or see him outboxing him and outmaneuvering him, but that would be quite a tough fight for Shawn Porter. I think that would be he'd have more chance in that fight than against Errol Spence. But obviously Errol Spence being with PBC like him, it makes it much easier for that one to happen. Now I want to see Spence against Crawford. That's the fight I really want to see. I don't know, Spence Porter, yeah, that's a good fight. I mean, they're all good fights. Crawford, Garcia, but the fight I really want to see is Spence against Garcia. Not Spence against Crawford. So hopefully we can get that fight happening. But yeah, congratulations to Shawn Porter. Very, very good. Probably the best performance that I've ever seen from him. So fair play to him. Happy for him. Let me know what you lot think. Thank you very much for watching.